to me, that's a point of vulnerability that I don't particularly, um, it's not a space that I want to be in. And I think,
Too
as
far
you,
removed from.
right, I mean, as
Yeah.
you progress, you also have to trust your people, right?
Yeah.
But I just feel like you have to be somewhat familiar with processes and what's happening in order to speak um, informatively about just things. So I try to, um, stay as close as possible, but also, I do understand that if I'm going to move up, like there'll be some more distance than perhaps but I feel like I've experienced enough of the technical piece to have a good knowledge about processes and what's happening.
Okay. So it seems like you pretty much covered it, but would you say, like, it sounds to me like that would kind of be like your style of leadership, is like making sure that you are understanding as much as possible of each of the workings of everything that's going on with your subordinates. Is there any other important characteristic that you would maybe say describes your leadership style?
I mean, I feel like I'm still kind of developing a leadership style. I mean, um, you know, I think that's certainly important, and definitely one of them is to just be familiar with who I'm leading and what they're doing, so that um, I know what I'm talking about. I think another style is just to be as approachable as possible, but also um, um, also just be certainly respected and just um, I don't know what the other word is that I'm looking for, but to be approachable but respected, and and kind of just balance that well. Um, and I think and another thing is that I'd like to do, or um, and that's part of just the development, um, is to also bring people with you, like, because you can't necessarily keep moving and then forget about the people that helped you, and so I try to um, first test to see who's willing to be brought, so to speak, and then see, if there is a way or an opportunity that presents itself, certainly to help other people kind of come up the ladder. And I think, you know, that's one of the challenging things, particularly here, just because it's so difficult to do that in this environment, both just, contractually, things like that, as well as, budgetary wise.
Yeah.
So it's certainly more difficult in this organization, but I think that's one of the things that because I think if people are working hard and they're doing a good job, I feel like you should certainly be recognized and rewarded. And so, you can do as much as you can do, but because of just the type of institution that this is and the university is, it just is a lot more challenging than I think folks realize. But ultimately, that's something that I'd like to do for the people that I know are just doing a good job and always working hard and just willing to do and learn more. And also, I think, just as an aside, I think folks should always just be willing to learn something, even if it doesn't equate to getting paid per se, because if you know it, then you know it, and you can always just use that for the next opportunity. Like, there are some things that I do that is not under my portfolio of responsibilities,
Mm-hmm.
but I still do it because I know that this is not necessarily going to be my end,
Yeah.
you know, and and so, you know, it'll certainly be beneficial to me in the long run, for whatever my next step is going to be.
And I think sometimes demonstrating that you could do something totally unrelated or that's really different from your normal set of responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
It's it makes it it's like a an exciting challenge in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh wow, you know, this, instead of just saying, oh well, this, you know, it's not my job. Like, you know,
Right.
this is different. You know,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we can, let's see if we could do it. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and sometimes, you know, folks get a little bit, you know, disheartened because things don't happen for them, you know, as perhaps they would like, or just, like I said, you know, this place is just, it's really tough to really recognize people. But I think, you know, from that, you can do what you can do, but you also can change your, you know, your environment. And so I always encourage folks to not necessarily be comfortable with what is, especially if you're looking for more. Like, you have to sometimes just go and be uncomfortable, because then that's when things change, is when you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So
Nice. All right. Let me make sure we're good over here.
okay.
There's a couple questions left.
There's more questions?
Not very many.
Oh.
Okay.
I thought that was the end.
No, almost. A few more. How we doing on time? Okay, let's just go to, was there a particular challenge either in this, where you're at now, or in the previous place you were at, that you, like a particular challenge that you felt best displayed your qualities as a leader? Like, did you have like a particular moment where you were able to really shine and, I don't want to say prove yourself, but like somewhere where it's like, well, we had this project, or I had to get this done, or get these people motivated, and I really like.
We'll get people motivated. I don't know about that, because that's a little bit tricky. But I mean, I think just, you know, recently, you know, we've had our audits, which, you know, went well, considering that I was down a person,
Mm-hmm.
and have been for almost a year now.
Right.
And
Someone
who is very integral in that process.
Right.
So I, you know, certainly had to take on a lot more this year, and thankfully that all went well. And then, you know, in the middle of that, another person who was part of the process was out for a number of weeks, and so that also put more pressure on me, because it still needs to be done, you know. So that kind of most recently has been something that I think an accomplishment, I would say, just because despite being down those folks, I was able to still get it done, and you know, get a clean audit opinion, which is kind of one of the things that are most valued just in this area, is that, you know, what you don't ever want is an opinion from an auditor, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that probably is the most recent thing, I would say. You know, there's also challenges just with people. I think that's probably the second most challenging thing, is to deal with other people and their personalities.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's certainly a work in progress, I would say.
Maybe that's an area of opportunity. I mean, I think that is probably for everybody, and especially leaders, is always, because you always have to deal with people. There's no like isolated leadership, so it's always just a work in progress. Maybe dealing with various personalities. It could be a lot of different ones.
A lot of different
depending on the
ones.
organization.
And, you know, a lot of folks who have opinions and a certain type of mindset that sometimes is difficult to change, and that can, you know, infiltrate the work and how they do their work and the level of or the quality of work that you do get. So that's certainly challenging, I think, that I found.
Okay. Awesome. Do you have time for 2 more quick questions? Are we doing all right? Okay. Yeah.
I must be talking a lot then. Right?
It's fine. This is perfect. So, who's a modern leader that inspires you? And just very briefly describe what it is about them that you find most inspiring.
So a modern leader for me is, you know, Oprah Winfrey or Annie Oprah or whatever, just because she's just, you know, a mogul to say the least, but she's just taken her craft and just has, you know, multiplied it to so many different things. And so I just view her as a person who, you know, is certainly just has certainly influenced me, from watching her TV shows to just now watching her network to watching her just dabble in just so many other areas, and just be successful as it. And she's always just not that I know her personally or anything, but you know, she just has always just displayed just that level of kind of leadership, but humanness, to just you know, almost like I felt like kindness, right? Like if I did see her, I would feel kind of okay to just even like approach her and give her a hug, just because she's just seems like that type of person, but she's just so powerful.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to be, you know, kind or anything like that, but you know, it seems like that's the type of person that she is. So, you know, I always just look at her like
helped a lot of people along the way.
And so I certainly will never be that, you know, billionaire status or anything like that, but I just you know, certainly look at her as a person that is certainly influential to me.
Yeah. I think to get there is like perfect timing. There's just different elements that really have to go into it. And you have to be in the right place at the right time. Awesome. So to close this out, what would be your advice? You know, if you're looking back to where you came and to where you are now, what would be your advice for younger people aspiring to be leaders one day themselves? What's something you would tell them?
I would say take a chance. You know, there's a movie, I forget there's an old lady that she's like, take a chance, honey. I would, you know, just take opportunities. I think one of the things that I kind of did was play it safer than perhaps.
Yeah.
You know,
Same.
I needed to. I think we always just plan for things, and things don't necessarily, you know, work out that way. But I think, you know, to a younger person, I would just say, you know, take that, you know, position in another state or overseas, or go to like an exchange program, or you know, just take advantage of the opportunities that present itself. You know, I feel like when I was in college, I was certainly, in my opinion, not a good college student. And when I say that, I mean I did well academically, but I didn't, you know, I wasn't really social. I wasn't like acting with folks and clubs and, you know, getting involved per se. And so I think I missed some opportunities to be in perhaps a better position.
Especially when you have more time to
Right.
do that kind of
Right.
stuff, to
And
get
you're
your hands
not,
involved
you
in
know,
everything.
you're not necessarily, with children or married. Not that that's a hindrance, but it certainly, there are, now you got other people that you kind of are responsible for. So,
Even like once you like get into a job for a certain amount of time, or into a career even, it makes it harder to do
right,
those
to do
outside
those type
things.
of things, and just I would just, probably have worked a little harder to just, um, to expose myself to different things. Like there's things that I find now that I want to do, or I wish I would have done when I was younger. And not that I can't do them now, but it's just, life happens. So, it would take a little bit more for me to do now. But, so I would say to a younger person, certainly, take advantage. I would say, go away to college, get that experience. If you can, if you can afford it, certainly don't put yourself in debt. But if you can do that, or if you can, go to a different country, or just, take an internship in Spain. I don't know, something just, outside of kind of the environment that you've always known, I think is just what I would say to any young person. Just take a chance on something else.
I could definitely agree with that, because I know my college experience too. Initially, I went to college and did exactly what I could have done anywhere else, and I didn't see at the time that there were so many different things I could have done out of all that, but instead I chose to do what I had already known.
Yeah. So I mean, I didn't go away to college, but that's been one of my biggest, I wouldn't say regrets, but if I would do it over, I would do it differently, and I would choose to like go away and have like just that kind of college experience, because I feel like I was just, I went to a community school, I went to where I was working, I was going to school, I was just like in and out on the train, back on the train, like I'm just like, and I don't feel like I, necessarily got that whole experience, and I probably could have if I would have been more aggressive in doing that. So
like seeking out,
but
making lots of friends.
yeah,
I mean,
here we are, and
acquaintances.
so it is what it is. I feel like I've done okay for myself, but I think there's just for a younger person, I would just say just take advantage of the opportunities that are there, and that's it.
Awesome. Well, that concludes the interview.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Hope you get an A on that. Remember I said that?
Yes. A's are good.
Yep.
All right, stop this.